Hmm. Okay, it's been recorded. So let's call this meeting to order at 10:01. Perfect. How's everybody doing? Enjoying this wonderful weather that we've been having? And now it's going to get hot. Okay. All right, let's do the roll call. We have Stephanie and Alita from Chester, Joanne Capoletti from Middlebury through Center Regrets, April and Jan from Naugatuck. I'm here from Prospect. Kathy and Tamis from Southbury, no. Debbie Bourneval from Thomaston, she just logged in. And we have Myra, yep, there you are. Labasser from Waterbury and Bob DeVito from Waterbury, but we don't have Jacqueline Thomas or Chris Vega, right? And we've got Lisa Carew from Watertown and Mary Marone from Wolcott, Chris, Kevin, and Josh from the NB Cog. And I don't know if Maria is on. I don't see her. Okay, from Northeast Transportation. All right. So we don't appear to have anybody from the public here. Well, there's no comment. Did everybody get a chance to read the March 9th minutes?
Yes.
And any changes to the minutes? Okay. Could I get a motion to get them approved?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Mary. And second?
I'll second.
Alita, second. Thank you. Okay, and then we'll turn it over to Kevin for the financial update and the ridership update.
All right, thank you. Good morning. Let me share. Oh, I cannot share my screen. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, how do I do this? I don't know if Rich is here, if he can let me share my screen or not. I can now.
Okay.
All right, so we'll start with the. Can you see my screen or are you seeing nothing?
No, we can see it.
Which can you see the ridership or the financial update? I want to make sure which screen that you're looking at.
Financial update.
Okay, perfect. So this is the financial update. Actually, in the past couple of days, I received the information from A, so I quickly included that into both of the documents. So for the financial update, no major changes. Things are tracking well enough going through the year. Nothing unexpected happened. And then moving into the ridership update, as you can see for Dollar Ride, we are tracking. We have a lot more ridership compared to last year. I would assume this is all pandemic related. As the pandemic is easing, more people are comfortable riding. For non-ADA, it's about the same. I would again track it to the pandemic really easing up about a year ago. So that's where the gap was. But as things have been quote unquote normalized for a while, the ridership has been matching last year approximately.
Excellent.
Yeah. That's all I have for the financial and ridership update.
Okay, any questions or comments? It seems like it's, you know, the pandemic has affected it in the way that we expected. So nothing unusual there. Go ahead, April.
I just want to add that for 2022, I'm sure the figures might increase a little bit too due to the free transportation, the free fare.
Oh, sure. Yep.
And now that's been extended till December 1st. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So back at April or May, Kevin had sent out an email requesting everybody to let him know their status. And this is part of Title IV paperwork, which is something that we need to comply with the state. And I don't know if everyone had responded to Kevin. And so I only put this on here because we are compelled to respond to the state, and we should be able to provide accurate information and not leave any gaps with some people who didn't respond. So if you didn't get a chance to respond, you could still respond to him because he keeps a running total of that. Okay. Did you have anything you wanted to say about it, Kevin?
Nothing specifically, just if you haven't responded, please get the information to me as soon as you can, and I can get it incorporated.
All right, and now Kevin's gonna just review the press release and the handouts. I wanted to just make sure that everybody saw them, because I don't believe that everybody responded with any comments to Kevin.
Yes, so let me share my screen once more. So as you mentioned, I sent this out in an email, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. I won't do a full reading, but a quick overview of what we have. This is the press release that we have. This is a more of a longer form explanation of the Greater Waterbury Transit District services. Service days in this case based on municipality. Additionally, I have created this in a tri-fold handout, something that we can kind of put out in various locations, such as senior centers and other public spaces. So this is the exact same information, just in a little pamphlet form that we can easily put out, because this press release isn't conducive to having around. There's 4 pages compared to a tri-fold handout, which is condensed into a back and a front. And additionally, we have this other little handout, this flyer. This is essentially a more distilled version of the trifold version, just really hitting the big hitters of what 980 is, what the hour ride is, what the differences are, where the services are, what are the hours, and how much the fare is.
So how are we distributing these documents?
I guess that's up to you. I do not believe this has been determined officially yet. We have the documents now. We can decide where, like, what's the best way that we see fit to distribute this to the public.
All right, I have a question. On the flyer that we're on right now, it has, for more information, you're not going to have them call the individual towns for dial-a-ride? You're just going to have them call Northeast?
Yes, that's the plan right now. It could be changed. I'm worried it'd be too much information to list every single town phone number. It could get confusing. But if that's the direction that we want to take, we can certainly make that change.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any thoughts on anything that I went over, or anything you want me to go over a little more slowly or more specifically?
Kevin, I'm guessing when people call in to any of the town phone numbers and they're requesting a dial-a-ride application, that each of the towns is telling them where that application is supposed to be returned.
Yes, I do believe in the long form it is specified in here somewhere. I don't remember exactly where on the pamphlet, but it's either spelled out there, or yes, they'll get the information when they call.
Okay, because I noticed we do list Naugatuck. We're still listing the Naugatuck Senior Center, even though I'm doing the dial-a-ride applications, but I'm hesitant to put my phone number there. Just between you all and me, I've applied for the mobility planner with the DOT. Don't know where that's going to go, but maybe it's best that we keep the senior center number there, and then they can still refer to me. This way, if there is a change, they're not going to be calling a phone number that won't exist.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, good. Can I ask everybody to put themselves on mute if they're not talking? I hear some talking in the background. Thank you. All right. Thanks, Kevin. Good
Of course,
job on all of that. Looks good.
Yes, thank you. And then I guess something that for all of you to consider is, how do we want to best distribute these pamphlets and flyers and information out to the public? That's something that we should have a further discussion on.
Mhm. Anybody have any immediate thoughts on that?
I have been distributing information in brochure and flyer form when I go out in person and through the transportation resource bags. I can add this to those.
Perfect.
Are you going
I
to
think-
send this information to each of these senior centers whose numbers are listed?
I
think
can actually do that. I can, like make a trip to each of the senior centers, dropping them off just so that they're all aware. I
That
have
was
not
going to
done-
be my suggestion, is to print some nice colored copies for senior centers and drop them off, because a lot of times either seniors or their families come to the senior center as like their hub of where to get information.
Mhm.
So it just makes sense that at that time, senior center staff can alert them of transportation options and give out these materials.
That's
Are we going to provide them, the one question I was going to ask, are we going to provide them in any other language? I don't know about other towns, but in Waterbury, Spanish would be very helpful.
That's a really good point. And in all my years doing this position, I only now less than a year ago was asked to provide something in Spanish as well, which is kind of surprising, but we were going to do a presentation in Spanish, and then the community that I was going to go to had a COVID outbreak, so it was canceled. So still haven't done one.
So translating it into Spanish, is that something that NVCOG could do for us? Josh is shaking his head yes.
We
Oh, that'd be
have a
good.
staff person who does a fair amount of, shorter Spanish translations. It's a native Spanish speaker, so that shouldn't be an issue. We can get that out to you within a week or two. And again, if there's a need for specific localities that want to have Spanish language, or other languages as needed, we can definitely address that too.
Kevin, would you be able to, I mean, I do have a printer here at home, but to print in that quantity would probably be a bit of a burden on my printer. Would you at the COG be able to cover that expense and get so many printed up, and then I could pick them up from you for distribution?
We could do a certain number here in-house, but we could also send them out to Staples or some other place that, a printing place to get them run off. If it's, instead of putting the burden on, I'm sure the transit district could probably afford whatever that would be. We do have
Okay.
some money, extra money in there for advertising it, I think, as far as the dollar ride goes. So I think that should be all right.
So maybe
do-
once we, sorry.
Sorry, I was gonna say, do we need a motion to do that? Or just something that gets covered?
I'm guessing because it would have a financial, it'll have a cost associated to it, right?
I don't know. Kevin, is there anything in the budget for advertising? Because that's what would come under.
I'll have to look after this meeting, because I'd have to dig around a little. I can certainly get back to you on that.
Okay.
Can I make a recommendation too? I mean, you may have already thought of this, but in my experience, I was printing a lot of my flyers and stuff on regular paper. I feel like they hold on to information longer if it's actually in a cardstock actual brochure paper versus a regular paper.
May I also ask, what about getting this updated information to places like ARC or what I think there's something called something without boundaries, abilities without boundaries, I think is the name of it. Things like that, where people who are not necessarily seniors, but who have disabilities of one sort or another could then have that information easily at hand.
Alita, I do have quite a large network that I've joined or built since I came into this role. We do include a lot of agencies like ARC, Litchfield, I mean, all over my 44 towns. So I can reach out to them as well.
Good.
To kind of piggyback what Alita just brought up, because that's a great point. Would we maybe want to spread efforts also to senior housing complexes who both house seniors and disabled population?
Like Robert Hut, perfect. Yeah, there's quite a few of those in Waterbury too.
That April, and you can grab some for town hall upstairs.
Oh, okay, good point.
The mayor's office, because they get calls up there too for it. So you can give them to me, I'll bring them up.
Okay, so I don't know what kind of quantity we're looking at, Kevin, but it sounds like a pretty big one.
Yeah, well, we can sort of discuss after the meeting exactly how many we should print and where exactly they're going to go, so we can get a more final tally.
Fabulous.
Excellent. Yeah, I like that. to the senior housing complexes. Yeah. I was thinking the area agency on aging, but I think that's somebody that you cover, right, April?
Yes, yep.
Okay, great. Okay, good discussion on that. All right, so the Board of Directors handbook, it's going to be something that's electronic, and I started working on it, and then I got really involved with some family issues, et cetera. So not an excuse, it's just my reality. And what I have in there is, let's see, I have who everybody is and their contact information, because everybody will need that. What our mission statement is, because I think that really just comes off of our website. We could put in a copy of the financial audit that takes place every year, so then everybody has a copy of it, a copy of the bylaws and these documents that Kevin created. And then people can just kind of add to it when we get like the quarterly ridership or the quarterly financial information, so then you have it. Well, something that was in the original notebook that Dan had provided to me was the Waterbury area transit study. Now, the last one that was done was 2016. I don't know if anything has been done since then. That 2016 is kind of like our division mark. Like we had this kind of information then, and then going forward, kind of dropped off. But I don't know if that's something that would be useful to this group, or if it's something that the NVCOG has continued to do and we just didn't know about it. Josh?
So that 2016 study was done by a consultant and was funded by FTA as a separate study effort. It's the comprehensiveness. I mean, we certainly can, provide the link to that because it is available on our website. It's a little hard to find, but we can definitely share that with you. I will say that at this time we are not planning to do that specific type of study for the transit district, in part because of the pandemic being a period of dropping ridership. It would not be the best time to do it, but we do have a federal requirement to do a metropolitan transportation plan for the whole of our region, and that would definitely include a significant transit study effort. We're also working to gain access to a very comprehensive database called Streetlight that has a wide capabilities. This is a private vendor that basically aggregates cell phone data anonymously. So they have algorithms that allow them to basically figure out that if there are 25 people in close proximity to each other traveling at 20 miles an hour, they're probably bus riders. And so essentially utilizing that kind of a mathematical formulation, they do have a fair amount of transit ridership information that has been in the past very difficult to obtain, basically because you had to have someone actually on a bus to do the counting. And so we're hoping that in the context of our metropolitan transportation plan, we'll be utilizing Streetlight information to make an update of the information that's in the 2016 plan, basically, pre and post pandemic, with some attempt, as is required by federal regulations, with some attempt to project that forward over a 20-year time horizon. Actually 23 years, I think now, so to 2050. I think that'll be helpful in the big picture, particularly for CONDOT in terms of identifying capital needs and future service patterns. The big push that we have, again, just as an FYI, is to start to have a more comprehensive intercity transportation access, in particular from Waterbury to Danbury and from Waterbury through to Hartford. Basically following up on Fast Track and some of the other initiatives that have made access into downtown Hartford more effective for transit, to be able to bring people from the Waterbury and Valley area that way is basically a very limited service. And in terms of the Waterbury to Danbury corridor, I-84 west, there is no transit. There's not even a Greyhound or Peter Pan service. So, those are trips that people need to make. The volume I would anticipate is not enormous for the transit side of things, but we definitely are continuing to study those aspects. And one of the things that I want to just quickly highlight for board members is that we are continually looking for public input regarding the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, particularly this summer. We're going to be engaging in a survey region-wide, and also doing some outreach to planning and zoning commissions and to other public activities, fairs, et cetera, to try to make sure that we're getting a broad sense of public interest and concerns. So we will definitely forward that information to board members and encourage you to share that as it comes through, to encourage you to share that with all your contacts as well.
Excellent.
Well, that's it.
Oh, yeah, Waterbury to Hartford, then you could go up there and get on the carousel.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Okay. A couple of meetings ago, maybe at the beginning of the year, we talked about one of the goals of the NVCOG, which is our umbrella, we're under their umbrella, is to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And one of the things we had discussed was having the public come to our meetings. Now, for people who are disabled and that use our services, coming into the building at 49, what's the name of the street?
Leavenworth.
Oh, it's difficult because there's stairs in the front of the building and parking behind it, and that sidewalk is a little bit hard to walk on. So one of the things I was thinking, perhaps, could we have a board meeting where we can invite the public and make sure that we market it to all of our contacts? Could we do it at a senior center? Because those are ADA compliant, and maybe we would get some people to come in and talk about, what it is, like you said, it's public input. Are the buses running when they need to be? Is the fare, they're able to pay it or whatever? Any thoughts on that? I don't know what senior center we could start with, but or if that would even be, if that's even something you want to consider, but that was where I was going with that.
Betty?
Yes.
Lisa Carew from Watertown. That was discussed at a long time ago, before COG took over the transit district. And it was discussed to do it on a rotation basis. We were actually meeting at the Waterbury Senior Center for quite a while before COVID hit. We would meet down there. But it was talked about, the other thing that was discussed before the Northeast Transportation Building was built, we were talking about having meetings at the transit district. The problem was it's not on the bus route.
Right.
It's kind of off the beaten path. So that was one of the concerns about not having a meeting there, but so everybody kind of saw what where Maria works down at the transit district. But that had been discussed many, many times about having it on rotation. We had when the chairman of the board was working out of Cheshire, and we were meeting in Cheshire for quite a while. But we did do it on, we actually met in nursing homes at one point too. We were at Abbott Terrace, and before that we were at, there was one like off of Bunker Hill in Waterbury. I think it was Oakville Avenue. And but we did do it on a rotation basis. The only thing is you really have to make sure it's advertised and posted. So
I like that rotation idea, because then you're giving the seniors that use the service a place to have a voice face to face with the board. I think we need to be more accessible.
I agree. I'm from Cheshire and it was the Stephanie prior to me who was the person. And
Oh,
I think the rotation basis is a great thing, that if we just rotate the meetings to different senior centers and then people can access at least an occasional meeting
Right.
and to at least voice their concerns, or even if people don't know, if people can't get to the meeting, if they know that there are meetings, they can then bring their concerns to us prior to the meeting, and then we could then discuss it at the meeting. So I think that that's a good idea to rotate if
Yeah.
anyone else is open to that.
I'm open to it.
I'm
think it's a
open
great
to
idea, and I would,
I would
um,
still use Zoom with the separate senior citizens. as
that's what
long
I
as-
was gonna say. Would Zoom still be an option? Because for some of
Because
us,
we-
it'd be
This
difficult.
way the meeting's recorded and everything, and it's just a better way to do it. That's
can
how we
make it-
do our housing authority meetings now in Naugatuck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
the
make them
Zoom, the
hybrid.
Zoom option I think is good too, because if like, if it's a meeting that's, you know, if it's a meeting in Waterbury from Cheshire, that's easy to get to or something like that. Like even for us, so we have like, always have a quorum, we always have enough people, we always have good attendance. I think the hybrid form of the meeting would be a good way to do it.
are all senior centers equipped with the capabilities to use Zoom?
Well, they just need Wi-Fi with the bandwidth, that's all. So,
Okay,
and you need an external mic.
I'm pretty sure they are, Betty. I'm pretty sure they all have Zoom capability, especially
Okay.
since pandemic.
okay, good.
Believe it or
So-
not, I only know of one town in all of my 44 that doesn't, and that's Heartland, which isn't even part of this region, so.
Okay,
The other thing too is by offering it Zoom, when we advertise, if people can't attend the meeting in person, the public, they can attend the meeting Zoom. So they have the ability to log in. It would just be that there would, the person moderating the meeting would have to keep an eye on the Zoom and on the group that they were presenting to in person at the same time. So there is like that layer of it, but
mhm,
the Zoom option is something. And I think post-pandemic, there's a lot more, we did a lot of Zoom training during the pandemic. So I do think post-pandemic, there's a lot more older people who have access
Mhm.
to Zoom or to a way to access the meeting. So I think if you were to offer the meetings in a hybrid format or a rotating format or something like that, you then are kind of throwing out your biggest net.
gotcha. Yeah, and yes, because I do a lot of Zoom with the presentations that I do with AARP, and we always have somebody who is a chat monitor, somebody who's the host, somebody who's watching to see if anybody's coming in a little bit later. So we would just have to, you know, ask
That's
people to
exactly-
volunteer to do that.
That's exactly what we do with the Mayor and Burgess meeting in Naugatuck. Same thing. Somebody's monitoring that when there's
Yeah.
public comment. So,
You know, and at this point, after doing it for 2.5 years, we're pretty used to it.
and you need somebody there, otherwise you get photo bombed, but we won't go into that.
All right, so would we like to, when would we like to start doing this? And before we say the September meeting, let's talk about the September meeting for a minute. There is something called the Envision Conference, and that's September 13th and 14th. And so normally, I think over the last couple of years that I've been on the board, we've always met the third Wednesday in September. So would people be amenable to moving the September meeting to September 21st? First of all, it's the first question. And then if we do that, well, we have to make a motion, but if we do that, would we want to start these in person or hybrid Zoom meetings from a senior center?
I'm good with that.
Do you want a motion?
Yes, go ahead,
I think
Lee.
you're gonna, okay, so I'll make the motion that we switch that September meeting and we start the rotation basis. I don't know what it's gonna involve for Lauren and Trish at COG, but that we start the rotation.
Okay.
Well, with the caveat, you're gonna have to see what's going on with the virus then too.
Well, of course, everything
Yeah.
revolves around the virus, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
It-
any discussion?
I was
All
just
in
checking the
favor?
calendar.
Aye.
Oh,
It would be
Aye.
September 14th,
it'd be September 21st.
21st.
first. Oh, see.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. All right, so now the next question would be, is there anybody here that would like to host the September meeting?
I think that I can in Cheshire. I just have to check room availability. So put me down
Okay.
tentatively and I'll get back to you on it.
Okay.
Someone's gonna need to reach out to Southbury.
We'll get to that, April.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay, so that will begin how we start to accomplish diversity, equity, and inclusion, but also not just by having people attend our meetings, we need to put something in the bylaws about it. So the bylaws need to be reviewed and updated, because we want to make sure that we're covering DEI as a board, what the board is comprised of as well. So is there anybody who would like to work on the bylaws with me?
I will, Betty.
Okay. So what we can do is just go through them. Stephanie, you want to work on it too?
No, I was gonna say, I just checked and we do have a conflict for our multi-purpose room, for the big room, that Wednesday, the week before we were okay, but we have a veterans function that morning at 10 in the room that I
Okay.
wanted to use, because it's the largest room, so I have to take that back. I apologize.
All right, so not meeting in Cheshire on the 23rd.
I apologize.
That's okay, that's okay.
Can I back into the bylaws? I might be interested in helping with that. It's a-
Okay,
I can help with the
And-
bylaws too. So
Okay.
yes, I will help with that.
okay. All right, so Stephanie, Alita, April, and myself will make, and what we'll do is we'll draft them and send them out and everybody can give their comments and input. Okay, is there any way that we could maybe meet at the Waterbury Senior Center? Does anybody have access to that? Myra, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. It wouldn't work if we're going to stay on Wednesdays. Our largest space has an exercise class in it during this time. So
We could join the class.
there you go. Kim would love that. Unfortunately, though, the class is full, but if you register now for September, we should be able to get you in.
Myra, what about that side room, that little conference room?
We don't have enough space in that room for all of you.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
All right.
we would need our large room. And the only days that would be open mornings are tough. If it was afternoons, that might look different for us, but.
okay. How about in Naugatuck? Jan, are you you're not at the senior center, right?
No, but maybe we can get one of the conference rooms upstairs, April, at town hall.
Oh my God, wait a minute. The 21st is the Naugatuck. Wait a minute, is that the 21st or 22nd? Naugatuck is having their annual senior day.
Annual what day?
Nope, forget it. It's this 22nd. We're good.
Okay,
Naugatuck has their Naugatuck Senior Day, but it's actually open to all seniors. They get the most tremendous participation. They get over 350 seniors. So, okay, it's not that day though, so we're good.
okay, and that's September 22nd?
It is, but what Harvey does is he has all the vendors go in and set up the day before. So
Oh, okay,
Naugatuck
so,
won't work for the 21st.
okay. But is there a way that the GWTD can be part of that senior day?
That's a great idea. I always attend, so I can certainly bring all the new information. I can represent both the Kennedy Center Mobility and Greater Waterbury Transit District. I'll do both.
Okay. All right, so then how about,
Actually, I was just thinking we can't use the town hall because we're not allowing the public in.
oh, right, okay. Okay. All right, well, for September
Maybe
then,
we can reach out to Southbury.
Yeah, good luck with that. How about Prospect?
I can check Prospect. I will do that. I'll check Prospect.
I mean, you could ask Southbury, but
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I will
Somebody's
reach out.
saying, what about in Thomaston? It's in the
Oh,
chat.
yeah. Yeah, we could go to Thomaston. Let me check the calendar, but it does look clear. Okay, so that Deb is putting that into the chat. All right, we can check on that. I know that Prospect has something going on every single day at the senior center, but perhaps Prospect could be like December. I could check with Lucy for December.
yeah, I know they have a lot of rooms there too, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Betty, I was gonna
Okay.
say, we can do December.
Oh, you can,
It's-
Chester? Okay.
Yeah, because it's the third Wednesday of every month that we have that veterans function within our
Oh, okay.
multipurpose room, but December's the 14th, so that's the second Wednesday. So
Okay.
you can do December. So
Okay, good. All right, and we'll
Right.
wait for Deb to get back to us about September.
All right,
That
so
would be fun. Road trip.
so Cheshire Senior Center for the 14th.
Correct. Of December.
December,
December,
correct.
yeah, okay, right, okay. All right. Okay, so
And it looks like
Uh,
Senior Center is clear for Thomas.
clear, okay, so let's book Thomaston for September. Yay.
Love it. Yay.
Deb, can you just put the address of the senior center into the chat so we can all put it into our notes? Thanks. Okay,
And we're gonna do the hybrid meeting format, so we'll be doing a Zoom from there too at the same time.
correct,
That way, if somebody can't come, at least they can call in from here.
correct. Yes, excellent. Yay. Okay, so I don't think Maria is on today, correct? So we won't get an update from about Northeast Transportation. Okay, so Thomaston Town Hall is at 158 Main Street. Same building as the Opera House. Okay. Okay, so is there anything else that anybody wanted to discuss?
Can we schedule the follow-up meeting, Betty, for both the bylaws and
Sure.
meeting with the COG about the printing, or do we want to do that through email?
I think we could do the printing. Kevin, do you want each town to send you how many printed copies they want of each one, or?
Yeah, that'd be good. Send like a list of like where you think you'd want to put out all these flyers and information and how many anticipated copies you would
Okay,
need.
okay,
One of the things, can I ask the question too, because we used to make posters and that we could hang in grocery stores and some of these places, like you were talking about the senior housing and stuff that you can post on their boards. So a lot of people have cell phones at this point, they can just take a picture of it. So are you looking at anything like that?
We
I think
haven't
that's a
looked into
great-
like a poster specifically with like a QR code, but that's something we can definitely look
You
into.
definitely look into that, yeah.
great.
Actually, we're redoing our town website. They can put it right on the website for the
Yeah.
town too.
Every rep here should have it on their town's website with their seniors. If you can get into grocery stores, we used to really do a blitz like every year or so. Hanging this stuff up, even the buses themselves should have the information because some of this stuff they might not be aware of. They might be aware of the dial reg, but they're not aware of the non-ADA information. So you probably want to put it right on your bus.
Lisa, we could go through Maria Vaccarelli NET to get some distributed on the buses.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna be more than willing to help out and
Yeah.
having it posted on all the buses, the fixed route transportation buses too.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
just dial ride, because there's a lot of people that are using the regular transit buses right now.
Right.
Okay, anything else? This is a great meeting. Thank you, everybody. I think we're going to be getting our brand out there, and people will know more about us and take more advantage of what we have to offer.
I hope so.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're moving in the right direction.
Absolutely.
All right, so we know the next meeting is going to be in Thomaston on September 21st. We're going to be able to meet Deborah in person. And can I get a motion for adjournment?
Motion, Carew.
Thanks, Lisa.
Second.
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you in Thomaston.
Okay, bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
All right.